Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Gorilla Town reclaimed the mosh pit in the third period in Cutlass Keys. KOTT News were on the scene and spoke with company leadership about the exchange. Congratulations on your victory here in Cutlass Keys, once again retaining control of the mosh pit in the name of the Marauders. How do you feel about your success tonight?
Man, I could not be happier about our success. You know, it took a little bit longer than we had expected, but we got it done in the end, you know. Not gonna lie, John, I got absolutely farmed today. You know, it is on a personal level, but you know, a dub's a dub, and yeah, I think we're in high spirits, and we're gonna keep on going.
Right on, that's what I like to hear. Well, I saw that there was some disconnection issues with some of the members of your army tonight. Was that impacting your performance at all? Do you feel you might have done better?
Yeah, some sort of EMP went off, I think, in the tournament, but, you know, it is what it is. We had some crucial rolls getting DC'd, some bruisers, some schizos, you know, just a little bit of lag across the board, you know, a little bit unfortunate, but, you know, these things happen, and just keep on gaming, you know?
Yep, you just got to keep picking yourself up and keep going. It's not how often you get knocked down, it's how often you stand back up. Well, was there anybody who stood up one time more than anybody else tonight? Like Keiko there?
To be honest, John, I couldn't really pick anyone. I was mostly gray screen simulator the entire war, but that's okay, you know. I think we had some stand-ins today, you know, so a couple mercs, people, you know, filling in slots, which was good. So I would just say overall participation and cohesion was excellent today.
An unfortunate corruption breach in Brimstone last night, severely impacting some refining services. KOTT News spoke with an invasion response and relief representative about the situation. Unfortunate breach here in Brimstone Sands. Would you care to take us through your relief efforts for this afternoon?
Yeah, John, we had 4 invasions and 2 wars at the same time, so with that many events going on, it's really hard to get enough soldiers to sign up for everything. Obviously, everybody wants to do the wars. Winsford did fill up with invasion goers tonight, so we were very fortunate to keep the corruption at bay there. However, I do know that Brimstone was not as fortunate with signups, and they unfortunately lost and had some downgrades to their town, so that is unfortunate.
Yeah, I did notice that the stone cutting tables are down to a tier 3 at this time. Is there any way the citizens of Eternum can help you out in getting those back up and running?
Yeah, absolutely. So the town wants emotional damage. They put something up on the town board here. If the citizens runs those quests and does the town boards, that'll help get the town upgraded and, yeah, making money again, and everybody can, you know, come here and do their craft work. I know a lot of people own homes here. Brimstone is a beautiful place, and yeah, so it'd be nice to get it back up to a full T5 area again.
As KOTT followed the action, and with so many forces tied up with wars and invasions, the Spriggan Rapid Response Squad was a little light on Zerg size. It would appear that the stoic druids of the forest still refused to speak on the matter of peace, focusing exclusively on their ritual making them immune to forced interruption. It appears that with each successful summoning, the Spriggan becomes more capable of defending itself, now visibly able to utilize a ground-pounding technique. It would also appear to have improved the improvised whip arm attack to include a sweeping knockback assault. KOTT News were also able to spot a ground burrowing technique at some point as well, so be sure to be more alert when traveling in smaller numbers. Returning to our continuing coverage of the Season 1 track, last night's card was nearly a box and nearly the end, as we count down to the final bingo attempt. Despite last night's outcome, this afternoon looks like a beautiful day clear of concern, leaving plenty of opportunity for repair. But once more after sundown, citizens should be on alert for opportunities to defend against invasion across 20% of the island. 2 more lineups submitted for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPCO. Remember, if it isn't LARPCO, it is cardboard. Tonight, the Syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen challenge the champs of Outcast for their heavyweight title and the right to rule over Everfall. Should be a good fight, this heavyweight championship fight tonight. The members of JDB who prefer offense would presumably be the list that includes their entire roster. But what of Outcast, who have come to defend their title belt with their legendary hero eloped to the opposing company? Will they begin their never fall run tonight? Meanwhile, the Marauders of Stam Out Z assail the syndicate members of Commit for control of the master fishing shrimpin' town of Reekwater. True to their word, Stam Out Z execute their right to return a reckon by slogging south and pushing the citizens into a conflict state again. Commit forces knew this war was coming, as the back and forth between these two regional rivals will come to a head again here tonight in Reekwater. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic changes in the history of Eternum last night as the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen reclaimed the island's heavyweight championship title by way of technical knockout. And the forces of Gorilla Town secure the master fishing shrimping region of Reekwater in the final minute of the fight. KOTT News were on the scene in Far Harbor and attempted to speak with the participants about their victory. Got into fort phase pretty easily, but it took you about 3 attempts to get into flag. 3 real strong pushes, and most importantly, the last push, which got you over the line with 1 minute left. Who wants to talk about their feelings on that moment?
Yeah, we should have probably had it a little earlier. Kind of blundered. Blundered a bit.
Who has the talking stick? Who has the talking stick here?
The everyone all at once excitement in Reekwater was offset by the muted resolve in Everfall as we spoke with one of the new champions about their win. Well, I know the fight was over more quickly than you probably would have liked, but would you care to take us through what you think might be going on with the forces of Outcast tonight?
Well, I think that there's some different opinions, and I was kind of disappointed. I could probably speak for a lot of our company in yet another war where no one shows up. And it's kind of disappointing on many different levels in the dwindling population here. And that's, I've been participating in other merc wars, and I think that was just gotten significantly stronger. And, you know, kind of lacking that opportunity to be able to practice and get some more experience, and as well as macro war experience is a little disappointing. And I'm sure that many of the Outcast players are itching for that kind of competition.
I see that some other members of JDB have already been on their way to start trying to push influence in other regions. Are you participating in that tonight?
I think so. I think I'll get a few missions in. As always, there's always incentives for pushing, and we're pretty excited to keep warring on this server. I don't think the lack of wars is going to dissuade us from ever leaving it, so as we have been West natives for a long, long time.
Breaking news about the Church of Brightwood. While investigating another matter related to the Silver Crows, KOTT News crews came across this pleasant old lady. Hello, ma'am. JChalant, KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news.
Oh, I know who you are.
You do?
Yes. Granny has eyes everywhere.
Well, thanks for supporting the news. You wouldn't happen to have any hot scoops, would you?
There's a church in Calvary in Brightwood. It's under construction for years now.
It sure has been. Here's hoping they complete it before the 3rd harshest winter in Eternum's history. I wonder why it's taken so long since the great invasion storm of last July.
That's what I want to know. Our organization's paying to rebuild it. We see it as a way of giving back to the community.
Oh, that's really nice of you. How can I help out?
But someone's skimming our funds. Find the thief. Recover our coin.
KOTT News will bring you more on this investigative report as it develops. Returning to our continuing saga of the Season 1 bingo track, last night's final card was a line to complete the track. Huzzah! I can now flex my new Season 1 skin while wrapping up as much of the journey as I can and completing a few of the additional challenges. Turning to the weather for tonight, and it looks like the sun will complete another circuit around Eternum without incident today. But as the afternoon concludes and the shadows begin to creep, lock the shutters if you're not willing to defend against a 20% chance of corruption invasion. 2 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Up first, the Syndicate members of Happy Birthday Happer attack the Marauders of Emotional Damage for control of the arid desert dunes of Brimstone Sands. Well, happy birthday, Happers. June Geminis are the best, am I right? Good luck out there in the fight, and don't die, stay alive. But Emotional Damage isn't planning on bringing cake and ice cream, and they certainly aren't just gonna give away Brimstone. Meanwhile, the Covenant PVXers of Tropical House assault the Marauders of Stammount Z for control of the primary oil reserves of Weaver's Fen. Tropical House seek to take advantage of the rush into Reekwater last night, potentially catching an army of defenders left unprepared for an immediate rear assault. But Stammount Z forces have just consolidated the eastern swamplands and sealed off throughfare for all but the wealthiest capable of paying their exorbitant tolls. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of bored kids somehow managed to secure the arid desert region of Brimstone Sands. And the Covenant PVXers of Tropical House returned to Great House status, converting the citizens of Weaver's Fen to the way of the PVX. KOTT News caught up with an exhausted shot caller on the steps of City Hall. Congratulations, my friend, and welcome back to Weaver's Fen, once again in control of the primary oil reserves of the island. What are we up to this time?
John, I don't even know where to start. It's just a 19-minute war, you know how it goes.
Was there anybody out there who stood out in their performance tonight?
John, I gotta give a shout out to our kill squad, our main ball, our point groups. I mean, everybody rotated, played exactly where they were supposed to, followed the calls, got to where they needed to be, and really just soldiered up this war, John.
Indeed. I understand there was a little bit of a snafu coming into the final moments with some irregularities on the lineup submissions.
We did, John. AGS decided to give a few of our players with alts on this server the good old, hey, you flagged up on your ult, but you really didn't. So they had to play on their alts this war, which were not 625. But you know what? At the end of the day, it worked out, so it is what it is.
After securing team photos for Tropical House in the historical archives, KOTT News crews caught up with Syndicate leadership enjoying a post-battle bath. It took a little coaxing, but KOTT News were able to track down a volunteer to talk about the fight. Congratulations! Tonight, the victors in Brimstone Sands inside the fort pretty early, and then making sure you secured all of the roads and hill before finally stepping onto the point and making it yours. Would you care to take us through any points that really stood out to you tonight?
I was really impressed by them. They were doing really good on their attack. I saw them outside of fort just trying to get in on us, and got us kind of worried, but, you know, we held it down, made sure we defended as long as we could.
Hey, Darling, who's the attack board?
Darling, I think we attacked them, buddy.
No way.
Darling, we attacked them.
No shot.
Darling, we attacked them.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's mix it up a little. Was there anybody out there who stood out in their performance in your eyes tonight?
Yeah, Vakuda, I would say he did really good with his point work, moving around in circles.
Upon accepting the Brimstone Sands Trophy of Record, the bored kids all walked slowly into the pool, practicing swim buddy etiquette. And fear not, viewers, the new Corsica bathhouse have assigned lifeguards on duty for all events. Returning to our continuing investigation into the theft of the Brightwood Church reconstruction funds, KOTT News crews have infiltrated a large organization. KOTT News will bring you more on this dramatic discovery as it unfolds. Turning to the weather, and once more it looks like it's going to be another day of sunshine and clear skies all afternoon long. But look out after sundown as the corruption invasion forces rise up across 20% of the island. 2 more rosters submitted for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Up first, the Syndicate members of Commit assail the Marauders of Stammount Z. for control of the master fishing shrimping region of Reekwater. Commit forces wasting no time executing their right to rematch. They must have felt in the moment that they knew what went wrong and what needs to be improved. Stam out Z forces, now regrouped into one territory, have the advantage of familiarity in the wetlands and should be fighting with a renewed sense of urgency. Meanwhile, the Syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen attack the Covenant converts of Outcasts for control of the bamboo forest preserves of Ebonscale. JDB's Kitchen, making a move to put Outcasts out of their misery, seek to resecure the resort destination and medicinal hot springs in the name of the Ebonscale Tourism Council. But Outcasts may have been playing it for the last stand when they apparently yielded the heavyweight championship title. We'll find out tonight, as soon as the horns start the fight. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of JDB's Kitchen secure the resort destination of Ebonscale. And the Syndicate members of Commit return to the master fishing shrimping region of Reekwater. KOTT News were on the scene in Far Harbor and spoke with company leadership about their fight. Congratulations on your victory here in Reekwater, once again claiming the swamp in the name of the Syndicate. How do you feel about your victory tonight?
Well, thanks, John. We feel really good about claiming the swamp again. It feels really good. Had a great war, and yeah, just feel good about it. Hope everybody else in the company does too.
I'm sure they do. You were inside the fort pretty quickly and over in 15, 16 minutes total, I think. Was there anybody who stood out tonight?
Yeah, I want to give out a big shout out to Lele. He did a great job waking up and making it to war. It was amazing.
Well, welcome back to the swamp, as it were. Do you have any ambitions to try to stretch out across the island from here?
We would like to take over the map and no, I'm just kidding. We have no plans. We just want some territory, want some good wars, and just enjoy the time here in Eternum while we have it.
In Ebonscale, JDB members were quick to retire. And who wouldn't want to stay and enjoy the hot springs? Unless you had news to report on. Later in Morningdale, KOTT caught up with a fresh bench representative to go over their hold there as well. Do you mind saying a few words about your victory?
Yeah. It was a good victory. There was some good plays. They definitely fought us, and then we definitely fought them.
So you're saying that there was definitely a fight out there tonight that took place in Morningdale?
Yeah, there was definitely people at war in Morningdale.
Well, I take it from your demeanor that they were unable to get into the fort.
Yeah, no, but they did get a point. Our kill squad trolled and didn't go over there. I'm gonna blame that on Yuppie. Yeah, he was just hitting the horns the entire time, but we kept telling him it's a defense, so it was a bit rough.
Well, I'm a horn guy, so I can appreciate that. Well, is there anybody else out there tonight that you thought really stood out in their performance?
I think Lura did probably the best. He's the greatest IGVG in probably the world. He's my personal hero.
Inspired by the momentum of the victory, KOTT News spotted a ragtag group of Syndicate claiming forts across the island to celebrate the evening's wins. Quickly to the weather, and it's looking like it's going to be another day of sunshine all afternoon long. But boy, oh boy, will the invasion response crew be busy later tonight with a 40% chance of corruption. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Covenant converts of Outcast attack the Marauders of Gorilla Town for Crown and Kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. Outcast forces haven't given up the ghost just yet as they return tonight to show the island that they still have some fight left in them. Ruling over the southern peninsula from the Western Bluff, Gorilla Town has begun the task of aligning the island under the rule of battle. But will they be pushed off that throne tonight? We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as the forces of Gorilla Town keep the Covenant outside a fort on the western Monarch's Bluff. KOTT news crews caught up with the mercenarial representative after the fight and got their reactions. Congratulations on your victory here on the Monarch's Bluff, fending off the forces of Outcast who showed up to show the island that they still had some life in them. What did you think about that?
Well, there was definitely something. I mean, the last attack was a lot better. I mean, this time they didn't have Brusty, man, so no Brusty, no wood, no fort, no nothing.
Couldn't get into fort phase. Unfortunate. Do you think that if they spent some time recruiting, they might be able to come back and give themselves another chance?
Maybe. I mean, that one looked pretty convincing. We pushed them back to 8 point, pushed them back to war camp. I don't know what they changed up for this attack, but they should take some 2 steps back for sure.
Was there anybody on the battlefield tonight who stood out that you might want to highlight?
My boy Bosch, man. My boy Bosch always soldiers up. We were playing bottom left that war, and bottom left was, oh my gosh, it was hell. Nothing but fire snaps, bows, schizos, everything down there. My Bosch skipped. I mean, he had to mute sometimes, you know, but he was running straight at them, soldiering up. Couldn't ask for much more out of him.
KOTT News would like to alert its subscribers and those who are about to be about an upcoming experiment by the refugees of the island. Beginning June 16th, a 2-day draft will take place to determine 6 companies of roughly 70-person rosters for the purposes of competing in an 8-week warring season. KOTT News will bring you more on this story as it develops. With several corruption armies invading at once, KOTT news crews contributed to the invasion defense efforts last night in Ebonscale. Unfortunately, not every front was without a breach, as metallurgical services were particularly disrupted in Brimstone Sands. Citizens interested in assisting in repairs should visit the town mission board in front of City Hall for assigned supportive tasks. Turning to the weather for tonight, and it's looking like yet another day of sunshine filling the afternoon once more. But look out after sundown when the temperatures drop and the corruption return for another go at reducing our morale in Morningdale. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the syndicate members of Irradiated Parts assail the marauders of Gorilla Town for control of the always contentious Restless Shore. Irradiated Parts begin the slog up to dislodge the current kings of the Mudhill, attempting to squeeze off this isolated marauder colony. But Gorilla Town is not one to easily slip up while defending its position, and if they catch the offense slipping, they may counter them in Morningdale. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as the forces of Gorilla Town retained their position atop the Mudhill in the eastern Restless Shore. KOTT News were on the scene in Moon Bay and spoke with a team representative about the fight. Congratulations on your victory here in Restless Shore, holding them outside of Fort on Charlie for about 20 good minutes. Would you care to take us through how you saw the fight going down out there?
Well, John, you know, obviously, wars don't always go as planned. You know, you can plan all you want, but things will never go completely 100%. Obviously, we planned on, you know, holding B for a lot longer than we did. Sometimes things don't go the way they intend, though. So we obviously ducked off of B, went back to C, and continued to hold from there.
Well, you were able to hold out, and that's what's important. The W at the end is what you were looking for, I'm sure. Was there anybody who stood out in their performance tonight?
I'd like to give a shout out to everybody in our company, whether they were in the war or not. You know, it takes a lot of guts to get back on this game every day and log in and win a war. Shout out to everybody on the other team, especially on ice. He hit me a lot, and that hurt. But shout out to like everybody who came through. You know, it was a fun war, whether we won or we lost. I think everybody had a decent time.
Excellent. A civic matter to attend to. Are you looking forward to the rumored first annual PvP draft set to occur next week?
Well, John, I'm glad you bring that up because, you know, I am declared, and I just want to say whoever drafts me is getting 100%. No, they're getting 110% of what I can give. So I mean, if it is rumored to continue going to El Dorado, John, I think it'll be a wonderful time for the West Coast, and I think it'll bring the server back to life.
KOTT news crews responded to several fort engagements in First Light last night, having experienced foreboding visions of its demise. But the encounters were even-tempered and casualties remained light as community members began preparing themselves for the upcoming draft. KOTT News would like to alert its subscribers and those who are about to be about an upcoming experiment by the refugees of the island. Beginning June 16th, a 2-day draft will take place to determine 6 companies of roughly 70-person rosters for the purposes of competing in an 8-week warring season. KOTT News will bring you more on this story as it develops. Invasion response teams were highly successful again last night, making for a comfortable day of sunshine for all services to be enjoyed today. But be on the lookout later tonight between the 4 wars because a 30% chance of corruption could give rise to requests for volunteers in global chat. 4 more submissions for simulated fantasy combat resolution tonight. Brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Marauders of Water 7 challenge the champs of JDB's Kitchen for their championship title and the right to rule over Everfall. This scrappy group of fresh-faced marauders have been putting in the work around the island, and now it's their turn to take a shot at the heavyweight championship belt. For JDB's Kitchen, they have some decisions to make again tonight. With 3 simultaneous defenses to coordinate, they may need to abdicate their title. Meanwhile, the Covenant converts of Outcasts assault the vault of JDB's Kitchen, attempting to steal away the island's financial capital of Windsward. Outcast forces continue to persevere in their endeavors, proselytizing to the citizens of Corinth in an attempt to sway them to the way of the spark. But when it comes to controlling the passive income of the island's premier central crafting and trading hub, JDB's Kitchen is all business. Also, the Covenant converts of Outcast 2 attack the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for control of the resort destination and medicinal hot springs of Ebon Scale. Taking advantage of the opportunity to put pressure on the syndicate, Outcast 2 rally their squad and head out to the Bamboo Forest Preserves to take their shot. The Ebon Scale Tourism Council have taken the liberty of extending service hours tonight, noting that defending 3 regions will surely leave the participants wary. In the nightcap, the Marauders of Emotional Damage attack the Covenant PVXers of Tropical House for control of the primary oil reserves of Weaver's Fen. In the true fight of the night, Emotional Damage skirt the peat moss bog through the Eastern Trail and prepare their assault camp on the Fen's high ground. Tropical House forces prepare themselves for a Marauder offensive that's steadily grown in strength over the last few months, confident in the growth they've achieved as well. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Water 7 become heavyweight champions of Eternum by way of no contest. And the Covenant converts of Outcast 2 reclaim the Bamboo Forest Preserves of Ebonscale in the name of the Spark. KOTT news crews caught up with Outcast leadership in the hot springs and got their reactions. Congratulations on your victory here in Ebonscale. Once again conquering the Bamboo Forest Preserves in the name of the Covenant. How do you feel about your victory tonight?
It was very hard fought. Even though it was only 5 minutes, 3 of our people got blown up by a keg. And so now they all owe 100K into the treasury for dying by a keg.
Yep, sounds like they're due for a little rudimentary warring practice. Basic training, huh?
Exactly. I mean, if you're gonna, die by the most broken thing in the game, I mean, you deserve to pay 100K, 100%. We don't mess around.
Well, I know that JDB seemed to be entirely focused on their efforts to hold Windsward tonight. I was involved at the Everfall fight as the champ failed to answer the bell. What are your intentions now that you've put Outcast, as it were, back on the map?
So what our intentions are, I mean, we're going to try and fend off the corruption invasion coming up here. So we got a little bit of time to prep for that. Make sure that nothing gets downgraded. JDB, oh, sorry, I had something in my throat. You know, and just continue making Evanscale beautiful, you know, and also got to make sure that we continuously slot Panda Uchiha. Otherwise, you know, we'll lose every single war if we don't slot him. He's the best.
The new heavyweight champs made no comment other than to say they were excited to get started on preparing for their Neverfall defense. Later in Windsward, KOTT News caught up with JDB giving payouts in the church. An assigned player, on Alternative, spoke about their decision-making for the evening. Congratulations on your victory here in Windsward, managing to hold them out for the entirety of the duration. Letting 2 other regions go in the process, however, would you care to take us through your decision-making for tonight?
And well, basically we just came out and they just sat in the camp for a bit, the little strata, you could say. And they came out like after 7 minutes trying to catch us off guard, but it didn't work, obviously. And went away with 5 kill squads, but yeah. Love you, John, by the way.
Too many kill squads, not enough bruisers and to get out there and kind of meat shield it, huh?
Yeah, you could say that. Oh, and Dome Piece, he was a soldier out there in the back line. He tried to get him out, but he was a soldier. I shot him out for sure. I only shot out Devote. It's his month. Make sure to give him love and kisses.
The final horns had barely sounded over the Peat Moss Bog as commit forces began to push influence to claim the Eastern Trading Hub. And a few moments later, as the wary combatants returned from the Fen, KOTT News were there. Congratulations on your victory here in Weaver's Fen, holding them outside for the duration, I believe. If not, you correct me, I'm sure. How do you feel the fight went out there tonight?
John, it was a great fight. I think a lot of our 5 stacks got some good experience working together. Yeah, we just held 1 point and did our thing.
What about you, Keeks? What have you been doing here in the hamlet while things have been going about daily activities?
Yeah, this I'm not used to the smell yet, hence the facial covering, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a far cry from the beaches that you're accustomed to, I'm sure. But as it happens, you know, everybody has to flow through here. All the trade to the Eastern Corridor comes through here. As long as you hold this, they'll have to pay their way, and you have all the oil. So what are your ambitions? Either one of you care to take this answer?
And we're working on a black sand beach. It's not actually black sand. It's just normal sand covered in oil. We're really just trying to, you know, bring back the native species and just, you know, rehabilitate the land with oil. Big oil.
Hey, did you have any plans for Weaver's Fen?
They're super top secret, so...
Okay, gotcha. That's true.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about them yet.
Well, is there anything else that you can maybe share with us or the citizens of Maternum tonight?
And I got to give a shout out to my fish named Carl for coming up with tonight's raid plan and really just holding it down for us.
KOTT News would like to alert its subscribers and those who are about to be of an upcoming Hatchet Dodgeball event on Saturday, June 10th. Citizens interested in participating should monitor recruitment chat for more details from the host, Rippity. Turning to the weather for today, and last night's turnout through the turbulence made for another afternoon without repair. But once more the night comes, and with it an eastern swell that will give rise to a 20% chance of corruption invasion. 2 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Marauders of Iron Reavers attack the Syndicate members of Feeling a Draft for control of the rain-drenched mountain region of Morningdale. Iron Reavers, taking advantage of the obscuring rains to hide their movement, have positioned themselves to take a shot at conquering the forward region. Feeling a Draft might be feeling a little uncomfortable, deciding how to properly defend 2 regions tonight, preparing their personal VODs for review. Meanwhile, the Covenant converts of Outcasts assault the Syndicate members of Feeling a Draft for control of the arid desert region of Brimstone Sands. taking advantage of the extreme differences in meteorological conditions of the battlefields tonight. Outcast focused their attention on the one with the more stable weather. But the dust storms of the desert can be twice as devastating as any rain, especially if this is the region considered more worthy of defending. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.